All right. It looks like we are in fact live. Fantastic. It looks good. Finally, we are back, folks. So we're on YouTube. I don't think I warned Fitch on this one.
Okay.
So yep. And actually, right when the Epstein documents started to drop, I should bring this up right now because you know what? We'll start with this because this will be a good lead in. And Fitch, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I've been putting out a lot of stuff, a lot of content, but all of the platforms that we're running up on the election year, so they're super stringent, and I'm a bad boy and being put in timeout, and none of my videos get put anywhere any people can see. I had to move the Learn to Fight videos over to Rockfin, so I've got them on the Rockfin Premium. They put them on Twitter also, but like I just have it on two platforms because everything else gets taken down. I can't stream or do lives on Instagram because the memes I post, they don't like those. I'm getting fact checked. Everybody who tries to follow me gets a big fact check. Nobody sees my post.
It's
It's
awful.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Listen, guys. Again,
Ridiculous.
the reason I have X in the corner, it's the best in a really, really bad system. There's also shadow banning there.
They're they're limiting visibility on certain posts
Oh,
on X.
100%. Well,
Have
again,
you seen anybody or had any of your posts do that?
oh,
Like I've had
yeah.
people who commented on my stuff and it said, "Oh, you can't share this, you can't comment on it, you can't quote tweet it because it's limited visibility because it's offensive."
So
And that's supposed to be our free speech platform.
uh, I want to say this before we even get going because this is an Epstein show. I'm going to show you a video of Lewis Black essentially revealing without even understanding what he's talking about, what I've been talking about for a very long time. That not only was Epstein working with Israeli intelligence and other intelligence agencies, by the way, but in this clip particular, it's clear he's working with Israeli intelligence, but he is in fact an arms dealer. Okay. That's the big thing they don't want you to talk about with Epstein because when you find out he's an arms dealer, it makes sense that he's running in these circles with women because it's not just millions or tens of millions. You're talking about billions and
Mhm.
billions and billions of dollars in revenue. Okay. And the fact that it looks like he's involved with Iran Contra. Now, Iran Contra is already a black eye on this country. Can you imagine Iran Contra 2, the Epstein
Thanks.
files?
Thanks, Reagan.
I mean, think about that. If you integrate Epstein with that, that's no bueno. They don't want that. It's
Mm.
part of the key. Now, you were mentioning Twitter and X. Because just out of fate, John, in the beginning of the year, January 2nd, when these things were dropping, I get a call from InfoWars and they want me to do the fourth hour of their first show of the year. They didn't do a show on New Year's. I'm like, sure, of course. I was actually writing an article, getting ready for my other show, pumped to do that. So I start in with there is no Epstein list, and I actually show people, just again, anybody can go and check this out, and we'll do it. We'll do it live. They had hard drives, by the way, that already had tape on them. So in other words, some investigation had already taken these hard drives from Epstein and then given them back. They had the safe, which had Epstein's what? They had pictures in there, jewelry, money, and his passport with a fake identity and a Saudi Arabian address. Probably during that arms dealing in the Middle East, Iran Contra time. That's if I had to guess. It's weird no journalist cares. And then on top of the stacks of books, which
Are there any journalists left?
not many, John, but here are the
So it's
discs.
propaganda.
It says audio video shoots and has women's names on them and then photographs. All right. Now, again, I can't reiterate enough that when you look at this, these two right here behind me, they are folders full of more burned discs, photos, videos, actual blackmail. There's no need for a list. Okay. And again, the quote unquote lists of his black book and all that was out there. They don't want you getting into what was really going on. Now, I do want to show this really quickly because right when this happened, here it is right here. I got this video taken down with cyberbullying removed. Okay.
Cyberbullying, a freaking sex trafficker.
Now,
It's
John, the
so
really
mean of you. It's so mean of you, Jason.
The
How mean of you to be mean to a sex trafficker. He's just trying to make an honest living, peddling underage children.
So I
I guess most
want
people
people to
are underage.
understand how rigged the system is. Now they tell you that you can have an appeal. Now, first of all, they really know they shouldn't have taken the video down. YouTube, I'm looking at you because I didn't get a strike from it. I haven't gotten any strikes for a while, and they've been taking content down. They just took out another the Happy Faucian Friday video, but I want to show people this. We're going to do it in real time. Okay, so here we go. So let's go to the video in question that they took down. And here, let's see. Here's another Epstein video they took down, by the way. Or is that the one? No, that's another video they took down. Here it is, right? Nope, that's the K-Stemic video. Hold on, where is it? Let's see. And anyone else? Let's see. Is this the beginner review? See, I can review this one. It looks like the one with Epstein. They won't let me review it. Let's see if this is it. Stop, leave. Let's go back. One, is this it? Review content here. Here it is. Yes. Review not available. So just so everybody knows, they tell you when they take something down, you get a chance at a review. No, you don't. And this isn't something about health or any kind of stuff. This is an Epstein video on YouTube. Let me show it to you again. Just so everybody understands, I'm not gaming this system. Review not available. Okay? So we'll do it again. It's right here. Review content here. Review not available. So you can't even review some of the Epstein videos that I've put out there that have now been taken down. And by the way, I reposted that on X to let everybody know. And that's how the system actually works. So, John, we've ranted and raved here over at Mixed Martial Mindset for 5 minutes. Let's let Lewis Black do his thing. And again, I want to reiterate right here that everybody can watch the more full clip. I just didn't want to get a copyright strike. It's right here. It's on the We Might Be Drunk podcast. It's like 6 minutes long. This is who he's talking about because he doesn't say his name in the clip that I've got here. We'll get to this clip in a moment. But here we go.
And it was the kind of thing you go into when we got here. Here's it's weird from the beginning because it's like you go in and he's got a whiteboard and there's all of this stuff drawn on it. And he goes, you want me to tell you what that is? And I go, yeah, well, sure. Bobby and I, he goes, I had the Israeli defense minister here last night for dinner, and then he's got me and Bobby Slayton. I mean, what kind of a fucking, are you shitting me? And then he said, and so we were talking about, he was showing me what kind of defense systems Israel would use in case of attack.
Wow.
And I thought, you know what? First up, what is the Israeli defense minister? What the fuck is the matter? Why would you tell me this is already, now it's weird.
Yes.
Nothing else is weird, but I know this was like a honk, something is wrong in this house.
Sure.
This is a guy who's working on his defense many years before.
So let's just break down that clip and think about what he just said. He just said there was a whiteboard. In other words, a planning board with all sorts of things on it that he was discussing the weapon systems of Israel with the Israeli defense minister. Now, we know that Ehud Barak is one of the associates. We also happen to know, everybody, that Prince Andrew was the lead arms dealer in the United Kingdom. We know he had this whiteboard because it's actually on tape when they show it. So Lewis Black, by the way, if you watch the bigger clip, he's like, look, I got nothing to hide. One of my producers said we were going to have really good wine. We're going to go to this rich guy's house. We're going to have dinner. David Brenner, other comedians were there. And he was pretty open about the whole thing. And I'm glad he was. And think about that. He really doesn't even know what he's talking about there, Fitch. And that's a huge moment. The press should have been all over that, but no, they weren't, huh?
There is no press. It's all propaganda.
We got to be careful, Fitch, because we're on YouTube. But please let us know how you feel about the current state of the press and what they're putting out there.
They're not. It's just propaganda. Left, right. These guys are bad. No, those guys are bad. Blame these guys for the economy. No, blame those guys. It's all garbage. They're the same. I don't know if you saw, I posted a real short or a clip from my show from last week, a few minutes long, and it's up on Twitter. But I was just talking about, left wing, right wing. It's the same bird. There's no difference. Like they're both screwing us over. We're not voting ourselves out of this. We need to, man, if you can, I wish I could leave and go to the country right now and build walls around my land and start farming and raising chickens because I'm tired of supporting these criminals. It's gross. It's gross. Like,
Everybody's telling me
yeah,
the
I understand.
yeah.
I'm not a complete anarcho-capitalist. I don't think destroy all government. Like, yeah, we need some local government. We need some police. We need some fire people, right? But the federal government is not supposed to have this type of power. It's not supposed to have this huge bureaucratic engine pushing things and taking so much time to get things done and just stealing from us. There's no reason for it to exist. TSA should not exist. FBI should not exist. CIA should not exist. Like, I don't even think the Department of Education, like the centralized government, shouldn't be controlling education. It's dangerous.
No.
They become indoctrination centers. It's just brainwash the kids, teach them what we want them to know to support this crooked government.
Let's see. So everybody's complaining to me that my voice is super low, and
Sometimes it comes in low, but then it lifts up. It's weird.
man, you know what? It's so crazy to me because I have like a pretty crazy setup here, and I have two boards running everybody. But for some reason, and I know this is going to sound weird, the longer I run with this piece of equipment without deleting all the codecs and coming back through, and then sometimes that doesn't even work. It just continually makes this lower. Guys, this is jacked to the max on everything. Like my gain is up. I'm right up against the mic. It's an actual interface. It's funny because I actually went out and I just got this little Elgato bad boy. And this thing works great, by the way, if you're just a one-person mic and a USB. But I've got it so Fitch can hear the audio of the videos and people can, if they come on, they can hear everybody. That doesn't work. It's all good now. Get closer to your mic. I'm not, guys, I'm that far away from the mic. Anyway, I'll put it down. Fitch, I got to get your 2024 perspective. Are we going to have an election? I mean, right now we got Vivek the Snake on the Trump team. Nikki Haley, the worst in the world. They're still trying to push her, right? Joe Biden hasn't stepped down yet.
Making fun of her. It's always making fun of her. She's talking about being a brown girl and wherever she's from. And they pulled up her high school photo. The whitest looking chick ever. What an absolute liar.
You couldn't imagine somebody calling her brown if she overtanned, John. Like if she that's a burner right there. She burns in the sun. Let's be honest.
Man, what an awful human being she is. They're all terrible though. And then we got two geriatrics and a bunch of phonies. Like, who's next up? Vivek, Nikki Haley, and then on the other side we got what's his name? The California douche. What's the guy here? Who's that? Newsom, yeah. Like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? Like, what hope do you have for the electoral process? Seriously, like, what are these options? What are these options? We got two guys who are a sneeze away from death, right? Who have already done, like, the blind, like, faith that Trump is good and did good things. Like, for 2 years he did okay because he artificially inflated the economy by printing a bunch of money. That's part of the reason we have inflation now.
I would say he did that
didn't
tail
stop
end.
Any of the wars. He could have.
Don't you think that's tail end?
How could he have done any worse than Joe Biden did pulling out of Afghanistan? Why didn't he do that? He could.
Well, he did try. He did. Listen, I'll give him credit for that. He actually did try, and then Milley and them literally did not follow the orders. He was trying. Listen, I'll say this.
He has no power to remove those guys. He didn't, like, he wasn't in charge of his cabinet. He's not in charge of any of those people.
I'm not saying
Are they
he's
elected?
not.
Are they appointed?
Listen, I'm not saying he's not in charge, and you're valid points, right? Like, listen, here's what I'll say for sure. horrible policy with Israel, which is in turn why we've got what's going on here. Gave them Golan Heights. That's an outward thing. Horrible policy after the fact on Syria. Horrible policy that he didn't fire the military people that did not listen to him, not only with Syria, but Afghanistan, right? And then he listened to them after the fact. Horrible, right? But then at the same time, those are the same people that refused to bring the National Guard in during the J6 thing on purpose. They refused those orders too.
So he did that. I blame him. Like, it was his call. He should have said, "Hey, wait a minute, these guys aren't listening to me. Get rid of them. You have the power."
But at the same
You have the
time,
power
John,
to remove those guys. You're commander in chief. If your generals aren't listening to you, bye.
I
Have
don't
some
disagree.
nuts.
And
But no,
listen,
he's sitting there yelling and arguing with the press. Fake news, fake news. Freaking get off your ass and actually do something. Do something. He didn't do nothing but argue with the press for 2 years.
I enjoyed the arguments with the press. However, you are
Yeah,
correct.
it was entertaining, but like, look where we're at now. Look where we're at now. If he would have actually done something,
The thing
and then
is, though,
he's the one that put our kids in masks and shut down.
I don't disagree there either. But let's hold on. Let's just
schools
stop
and
for a second.
businesses and small businesses suffered, and he did the boop boop, the super fast boop boop.
Well,
Come on.
and I hate how he keeps talking
Be
about
realistic. And but people are like, oh no, he was great. He was great. No, he was awesome. Like, no, like if you can't realistically call out the flaws, like, that's a problem. Now I'm believing that is cultish.
Oh,
Like,
it
if
is
you can't-
cultish.
If you can't talk about the bad things that your guy did, that's a problem.
No, it's a huge problem. And I think all the legitimate things, like you just said, with that administration need to be addressed. But obviously, Trump isn't quarterbacking the January 5th pipe bomber, right? So let's talk about that really quickly. Because before the revelation on Tucker Carlson about the material and the timing of it being found and the non-seriousness surrounding it, I had Agent Stephen Friend on my other show, and we're just going to go to him, and I'm going to get his take on the pipe bomber. I'd really love to get your take on the bomber. You know, this is an issue that still has not been resolved. There's obviously massive footage of this person. DC may be the most surveilled place in the world, let alone the country, and they still have not found this pipe bomber that was out there on the eve of January 6th. What are your thoughts there?
There's a lot of investigative steps that have not been taken with this individual that are very suspicious. Obviously, they've used the geofence technology to identify people who just walk through the Capitol. And this was at a time of day where there was not going to be a lot of foot traffic, and yet they've been unable or unwilling to use that to identify the potential person. I've talked to people who have looked at the surveillance footage, and they've been able to actually identify the vehicle this person entered and exited from, and maybe even getting a license plate from it. I know people who were working in the Washington field office, and there was actually a lead on an individual who they thought might have been the pipe bomber, and they were pulled back and not allowed to investigate that further. And I've heard through a whistleblower who was working within that they've actually identified some of the bomb-making material. And it might surprise you or not surprise you to know that it is training material from the Department of Homeland Security.
Training material from the Department of Homeland Security. Now, that's Special Agent Stephen Friend, who's currently suspended. John got another bombshell in that interview, okay? He was also one of the people that was on the Whitmer raid. In other words, originally arrested all these people that had already been infiltrated and set up. And if you listen to my interview, he thinks that they were hyping them up. First of all, he says they straight lied to them and said that they were going to be as well armed as they were. That's number one. Start there, right? And he said they were trying to hype them up to engage and possibly get into a firefight with them. Stephen Friend now totally believes that. That's what you're dealing with. Now, Trump, again, far from perfect. I'm going to give you egomaniac, narcissist, can't admit when he's wrong. But at the same time,
Jeffrey
right
Epstein
now...
Island visitor.
What's that?
Jeffrey Epstein of Island visitor.
Not an island. All right, so again, we got to be real about this. Definitely Epstein visiting him in Florida. Okay, I don't know whether or not Trump ever went to Epstein's residence in Florida. Possibility, but never
I don't know. I thought I had seen stuff about him being in the part of the lists.
Again, there are no. That's what I'm trying to say. So most of those documents were out 2017 just with redactions. And John, I'd already done a lot of videos and already knew who the important players were. The last real dump was about a year ago when they went through Epstein's Rolodex. Remember, we covered it because now it had Leonardo DiCaprio and William Burns from the CIA. And remember, that's when Chomsky came out, all that, and Minsky was mentioned. And now they just got confirmed. Basically, they got unredacted, okay? So again, let's talk about it. Trump definitely has Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell on his plane and at Mar-a-Lago and his residences in Florida. Not sure whether Trump goes to his residences in Florida. Trump, more than likely, from these documents, rode on the plane but never to the island. There was never an island encounter. And then in New York, he would go to Epstein's house. That's also from the eyewitness testimony. Now, when we're talking about the island in particular, then you can get into like a Stephen Hawking. He is alleged to have gone down there. Branson is alleged to be at the island. From what I understand, not these documents, but others, Gates is not just alleged to be on the island, but Gates kind of had his own yacht and party place too. Okay, that's what they're also not telling you. Like, again, guys, there's a lot out there that
some of the stuff released sounds fishy too, like that. What's his name in the wheelchair?
Rogan explained it great. No, it's not. Go watch. Listen, first of all, John, you got to go. Do you know the story about Stephen Hawking? Stephen Hawking was
how did he live for that long? Isn't his disease like kill people in like 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, it's totally degeneration. But again, if you have money and some kind of power, you know, he was a physical vegetable, but his mind absolutely worked, and he could still feel things.
Did you see the old translator videos of him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
Where he's mumbling like Chewbacca.
Yes.
And he has a translator like, oh, he said this. And it sounds nothing like anything he said.
I think that
I think there's a conspiracy around Stephen Hawking. I don't know if I don't fully believe he was a real person.
he was a womanizing guy before he went totally, you know, just say it. And apparently he could still physically feel throughout that whole thing. I think that, again, compromising the scientific community when Bannon's sitting on, remember, we've played that video. He's sitting on
or they used somebody who had disabilities to push forth a theory that was bogus because no one would question it. Because, oh, how dare you question somebody who's disabled?
Well,
it becomes a shield. It becomes a liability shield.
What are the main theories for Stephen Hawking that are out there?
The Big Bang.
Is he a Big Bang guy?
Yeah, that was his book. I read his book in college.
Oh, well, I'm certainly not a Big Bang guy, everybody. I think it's coming. I think that's some of the most big Johnny nonsense in the world. If you think that the Big Bang theory
it was like a moment in time or something like that was his book.
I don't know.
Something like that. But no, yeah, I read that. So like, yeah, if it was like a bunch of different scientists together push forward this theory, and it's like, oh, this kind of theory is hard to believe. Let's have this guy present it, and no one will question it. Because they'll be like, oh my God, isn't it so brave? Isn't it so amazing that this guy did that through all this hardship? And then the second you quit, like, wait a minute, the math doesn't add up there. You're a bigot towards handicapped people. Just saying. After all the things that I've seen and all the hoopla, like the racial shield that Barack Obama had, no one could question anything he did, because if you did, you were automatically racist. Oh, you're just saying that because he's black.
Well, they played
not because he bombed women and children with robots, because he's black. Now you're a bigot, right?
Well, I mean, look what's happening over in Israel.
I don't know anything. If I haven't done the science myself, if I didn't see it with my own eyes, it's just interesting. That's an interesting theory you have there.
Oh, it's been a while. It's been a while, Fitch. So, you know what? It's mixed martial mindset. We haven't talked MMA in God knows how long. First of all, I think the PFL versus Bellator card is actually awesome. I don't know if you've seen it. They want pay-per-view.
It's cool to have some cross promotion, but at the same time, we have one less promotion. We have one less option for fighters to go to.
Well, that
That's
was my
not a
next
good
question.
thing.
It looks like one of them is going to get absorbed, or there's just going to be as
Yeah.
half
Well,
as
I
many
mean,
shows.
regardless, it's one company running both of them. So one company is controlling the contracts. So regardless of it being two promotions, it's still one company signing the exclusive deals. So you have one company controlling two titles, but controlling all the exclusive contracts. That's limiting guys' ability to play the market and have free agency. On top of that, Bellator and the PFL have never been profitable. They have never turned a profit. They are not a competition to the UFC. In the last 3 years, the UFC cashed out dividends and paid off their investors of the sum of $1.8 billion. Does it sound like these people are competing with the UFC? ONE FC has also not been profitable. No one is competing. No one is competing.
No, I totally agree. So, but what do you do about that? You know?
Class action lawsuit. Trial starts in April 15th. On top of that, we have Ali Act. We need to reintroduce the Ali Act, Ali Extension Act, so that MMA and all combat sports, all prize fighting sports can be regulated the same as boxing, because they are. They're the same. They have different rule sets for combat, but they're prize fighting. Fighters fight for titles and rankings, and they either are paid for them based off of popularity, but it's prize fighting. It's the same. So they should be regulated the same. The athletic commissions regulate both kickboxing, boxing, and MMA. Why should they be regulated by the government differently? It's ridiculous.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but my thing is this: like, see, now I know what's going on. For some reason, this software is just delete, like lowering my volume. I've never seen that happen. But this, I'm so mad right now. I was watching it as you're talking to me. Just did it fucking again. Oh
Maybe
man,
because of different sound, it lowers yours when other sounds coming through this mic.
I have the voice mod software on so that I can play wonderful clips like
Everything's coming up, Millhouse.
and
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
but now I'm seeing it lower my system input volume, which is the most bogus thing I've ever seen, and I'm not hitting it, and I don't know why it would be doing that. And I'm in the settings right now, and that's not a setting. So that's, man, boy. Boy, oh boy, does that irks me, guys. That's irking me. Here's the deal, Fitch. Fuck you, you fucking bastard. Anyway, fucking. So I literally have to click on it and drag it to 100, and it just pulled it back to 71. This thing, I'm very upset about what's going on right here. In fact, you know what I'm going to do right now?
technology. It's supposed to make things easier, but in a way, it just makes things harder and pisses you off.
We're just going to change the settings right now. Okay, we're just going to go to boom. Hopefully it's and that's the other thing. I have two different. Let's go 1 and 2. That's what we want. Boom and apply. Hit OK. You still hear me, Fitch?
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, we just fixed that fucking problem. Everybody. Here's the deal. I went to the last Bellator event. It was in the late November, okay? And the reason I went there, John, is because I thought it might be the very last Bellator event, right? Like, and maybe it is. Because just like you said, they're both together now, right? So, I mean, think about that, everybody. They're having a super event. This cuts out half the champions. Yeah, it might produce some really great fights, but I mean, half the champions are pretty much garbage because they got beat by the other guy.
Mm-hmm. You're basically eliminating titles, kind of.
Not only that, but like, think about it. Like I said, their last thing was in Chicago in late December. We're at late January. It's been 2 months. There's another month.
Especially imagine if PFL were to somehow manage to win all those fights, that would completely just destroy the Bellator brand forever. It's done.
I don't see Eblin losing, but he's got a tough guy. Like I'll tell you what, they're legit fights. And like you said, if there's one that's dominant, what happens to the other, right? Like, don't get me wrong. And the thing is, I think Bellator could dominate, And just because PFL has signed the deal, because it's not clear whether this is an ESPN deal or not, right? And whether they have the rights to Bellator.
Right, and ESPN is not promoting it at all yet. If they are going to, which is kind of weird.
I agree. So it's one of those things. Again, you're going a full fiscal quarter now, without any events for Bellator. It's been a while since it's done that. They've done a couple months before, but now you're a full fiscal quarter.
And honestly, if you look at the landscape, there's a lot less MMA fights going on, period. Even bare knuckles seems like it's slowing down and not having as many fights. Maybe it'll tick up more in the spring and summertime, but as of right now, it looks like there's a lot less volume of events. Like I haven't noticed that many KSWs going on. When's the last time one FC or one championship?
They had a
MMA?
banger of a card in the beginning of the year. Yeah, on Prime, but their next one they're trying to get, I think, $49.99 to pay-per-view.
They're doing a lot of grappling and kickboxing, Muay Thai, small glove Muay Thai, that type of stuff. But straight MMA events, like how many have they been doing?
Who's that?
It seems like a less. And they're not a profitable organization either. And it's kind of fishy where the money's coming from.
Well, yeah, no, you saw the dude from Bellator on John Anik saying like who knows where their money is even, like how are they even still around? You know, and there's been talks of
I've said on my show a number of times, it kind of looks like they're laundering money.
Just saying.
Because like what are the eyeballs? Like show me what the viewership is. Like, oh, we can get in this many households in Asia, but like who's actually watching? Are they actually watching those things, or it's just like background stuff that's on all the time? And then if there's no real eyeballs on it, like where's the money coming from?
I mean, you look at also like Ryzen, and like I see, you know, and I get a lot of those are young fighters, but they're in the Satayama Super Arena. They probably put on a dozen shows a year there. And these fighters are like in like pod apartments, the nightmare of which is the dream of Klaus Schwab, everybody. So, I don't know, brother. I mean, I kind of just, first of all, the MMA thing's kind of a side issue because I feel like this year is already flying by. The month's almost done. Yeah. And it's the election year where everything is accelerated. We just had the big hoopla here in Iowa. I was actually able to get a question off on Vivek about transhumanism, etc. He's an interesting character. You know, actually, Tim Pool and Luke and them came out to Des Moines, and they even hung out with the campaign.
Yeah, man. Vivek, he's a snake, I think, man. He says too much of the right stuff. Somebody put a video, side-by-side video of him and Barack Obama.
I've seen it.
He gave the exact same speech. Like,
I've
word
seen
for
it.
word.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
It's spooky, man.
I
but
think
people have short-term memories, and he's saying all the right things. That's a problem.
Well,
if somebody says all of the right things, that seems questionable. Like, how does he say all the right things? He doesn't have any opinions that are a little bit off.
Well, Jimmy Dore ate him up on Palestine and Israel. I thought I thought that is the difference of opinion. I thought that was actually, he didn't shine right there. And even when I asked him the question, have you seen my clip on him?
I haven't seen that one.
Let's play it because he's a good politician, bro. But here's the thing: if he doesn't know, thank you, for instance, who Martine Rothblatt is, that's a problem. He's in the biotech industry, right? And I didn't even know this. Shout out to Riss Flex. This is something that I was unaware of. There's actually one richer transgender person than Martine Rothblatt. And it's Jennifer Pritzker. And in fact, that's a story we're going to do that we haven't done yet. I'm going to bring up Abilify and Kendra Wilkinson, and it'll all make sense after this. But shout out to Riss because she pointed out that there is this other person. It's the Pritzker family. So the governor of Illinois is Jennifer's brother. They were brothers. Now they're a brother-sister combo. And they come from a nepotistic billionaire class. And Riss knew a lot about Pritzker and refused to do it. Vivek here plays dumb. It's a long clip. It's like 6 minutes, but let's watch the whole thing. I'll try not to interrupt it. Doesn't think there's a connection between transgenderism and transhumanism, doesn't know Martine Rothblatt, but does know about chimeras. So let's hit the clip, everybody.
For coming out today, guys. God bless you. God bless your families. And may God bless our United States of America. We're just getting warmed up. We're going to practice what we preach a little bit. We're not going to stop in this race till we get this job done. I want to open this up. I want to have a conversation. Take the filters off. If I'm going to sit across the table from Xi Jinping, and I will, I better be willing to sit across the table from our own fellow citizens in this country. And so, I don't know if we got a microphone, we got a couple of them. Let's open this up. So we'll go to you.
Should I wait for the mic or?
You seem like you got it built in.
I
you can give
do.
him one. You can give
I
him
don't
one.
necessarily need a mic.
That's good.
You come from a. Here, I'll take it.
You can go give it to everybody.
Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate that. You come from a background in biotech, and basically right now we're at a point where United Therapeutics, for instance, has gotten the FDA approval on xenotransplantation. How far is too far with transhumanism? And then the head of that company is a person by the name of Martine Rothblatt. Used to be Martin Rothblatt. Also the most powerful transgender person on the planet. They're the author of Virtually Human, Unzipped Genes, and From Transgender to Transhuman. Now, I see transgenderism as a pathway to transhumanism. I'd love to get your take on that.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I got to say, this is the first on the campaign trail. I like this, though. I like going into new territory. So, you're right, my background was developing medicines. I oversaw the development of a number of medicines, 5 of which are FDA approved today. The one I'm most proud of is life-saving therapy in kids, actually. 20 kids a year are born with a genetic disease where 100% of those kids die by the age of 3. I worked on a therapy, I had the honor of working on a therapy where a majority of those kids now live lives of a normal duration. Another one for prostate cancer, another for endometriosis and uterine fibroids, women's health conditions that were ignored by much of Big Pharma. So that was my background. But I'll actually take you back to the question about the chimera, which is part animal, part human. My senior thesis in college, actually, in 2007, was about the ethics of creating human-animal chimeras. And the core conclusion I came to is, and that was at the embryonic stage, whenever something assumes the qualities of humanity, that's when it creates fundamental ethical quandaries we don't necessarily want to cross. And so I think sometimes what's happened is we're pushing the boundaries, not because that's necessary, but for the sake of pushing those boundaries. And I don't think that that's pro-human. And whether you're talking about this issue or whether you're talking about even very different issues, like the anti-fossil fuel agenda as it relates to the climate agenda, I think the question we should be asking isn't, are you measuring carbon dioxide emissions? Or are you measuring some quality of what percentage of human cells or not? The question we should be asking is, what advances human prosperity? What advances American prosperity as an American? But what advances human prosperity? That's the question we should be asking. And I think that that's what's going to guide us going forward as well. As it relates to the transgender point, I think these are, I know the word trans is in both, but I think they're basically 2 different subjects. But since you brought about it, I think it's worth touching on. I know this is a little controversial for me to say, but I'm going to share with you my view. I think that transgenderism, especially in young people, it's a mental health disorder. It's been treated that way for most of our national history, and I don't think it is compassionate to affirm that kid's confusion. Usually when a young person is saying that, hey, my biological sex doesn't match my gender, what they're really saying is, I need some help. I'm going through a difficult time. Figure out, you're allowed to ask what's going wrong, but today, in today's culture, you're taught, no, you're transphobic if you ask that question. I met 2 young women in this, I can't speak to the individual you mentioned, but I met about what the circumstances were or gender conversion or anything else, but I met 2 young women in this race. They're in their 20s now. Both of them had double mastectomies, both their breasts cut off. Another one of them had a hysterectomy when they were teenagers. Now in their 20s, they regret it. I think it's barbaric that we allowed that to happen. That's not compassion, that is cruelty, to affirm a kid's confusion. And so I think sometimes you have to speak the truth, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. There is such a thing as objective truth. And I think the more we start wavering from our commitment to truth, the more lost we are in that wilderness. So you see, I think, as many of you know, I'm Hindu, but I went to Catholic high school. I can tell you from, and I'm proud of my faith, and I'm happy to talk about that. But I think that our shared foundational values actually overlap heavily with the Judeo-Christian values this nation was founded on. But the thing I was going to bring up was actually a reference from the book of Exodus, where when the Israelites are lost in the desert, yet to find the promised land, that's when they say, we want to go back and be ruled by the Pharaoh. So in some sense, that's what I see in America right now, is we're lost in that wilderness, yet to find a promised land. And when you have a hole the size of God in your heart, another scientist said this actually, Blaise Pascal, if you have a hole the size of God in your heart and God doesn't fill it, something else will instead. Right? You don't pledge allegiance to that flag. You're going to quite literally pledge allegiance to a different flag instead. That's where the trans flag came from. It's out of a human need to believe in something bigger than ourselves. And I think the right way we win is we dilute a lot of that to irrelevance by reviving the real thing: individual, family, nation, God. And as the U.S. president, my job is to revive our national identity. I believe that's half the job of the U.S. president, not just policy, but to stand for our national character. And I think that dilutes a lot of these other temptations to irrelevance. And so that's where I stand. Great question here, man. I appreciate you being here.
So
thank you for coming out today, guys.
What the heck happened to my friggin' camera? What is going on in this broadcast? First of all, I was going to say, there is Unzipped Jeans. That is guys, I've got gremlins in my, I don't even know how that could have happened.
Got shaded out.
Dude, like, hold on. I can't, there we go. I'll tell you what right now.
I don't know, man. Was that a satisfactory answer to you? Because that sounded like a big word salad.
That's what I'm saying.
It sounded like a big word salad, and at the end he's like, Catholicism, and everybody's like, yeah, and the flag and trans bad. Like, I don't know.
It definitely seemed like weird. That, like, I think he answered a lot of the questions that he wanted. He admitted, he said he didn't know this person's circumstances. Vivek, this is 10 years before your thesis. Martine Rothblatt was writing Unzipped Jeans. They're the one behind these trans bills that are trying to get you to pledge allegiance to these trans flags. And they tell you in these writings, I'm telling you right now, it is a pathway. It's a pathway to transhumanism. Now, listen, it's a lot of things, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. So, that's important to me, that, we definitely drive that home. And I'm not going to stop reporting on that. Look, I want to like the guy, right? He's a billionaire, though. It's very hard for me to believe in billionaires. And you remember going back to Alex and Epstein, when I was on that show, he brought up Musk to me. And this kind of brings it full circle, John. So he brings up Musk, and he goes, how about Elon Musk? And I go, well, I still remain pretty skeptical, Alex. And I said, if you want X to be a true free speech platform, I go, it's very easy. You can do it tomorrow, okay? All you have to do, and this is still questionable because you're still going to be able to promote stuff in the For You tab. But if you're in the Following tab, okay, it's very easy to do. If you're following someone and you're in the Following tab, if they post at 9:59 in the morning, it's there. And then if they post at 10:01 in the morning, it's there. And it goes in a chronological order of posts so that you can see all the posts from all the people you follow. And if you want to go back in time and look, you'll know when and what order all this stuff was posted. And guess what? None of the posts are not seen. It's right there, John. It's a real easy algorithm. Okay? And that way, people that follow these things could then hit retweet.
I don't know. I feel like
Yeah.
the people I follow still don't have all their posts come up.
No, they don't. That's my point. If that's admitted, that's what I'm saying to you. That's my point, John. Yes, you're not wrong. 1,000%. That's my point. It would be so easy.
It would be easy
No.
if you could go to the the people I follow, and then all their stuff would come up no matter what.
Guys,
but
yes.
yeah, you have to.
That's it.
You have to, same thing like my Instagram. You have to click on their home screen, whatever, and scroll down their stuff to see their posts.
Absolutely.
And that's what I started doing, because I was like, man, I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen this guy post anything for a while. I wonder if he's all right. And then I go and I click on their thing. They're posting 10 times a day. And I'm like, why don't I see anything? And then sometimes random things put in my feed. And I'm like, why is this person's garbage? This isn't even anything I'm interested in. Why is this coming through?
And there's more advertisements than ever on top of it, right? Like,
I block them. If you advertise,
well, there's the
advertising
sponsored tweets.
my-
How
on my-
you can't block the sponsored tweet. You then go in and block the accounts with the sponsored
yeah,
tweets.
I blocked the account it came from. I just hit I hit the 3 buttons and I hit block, and you're gone.
Oh
Quit trying to
man,
tell me stuff.
that's too much. That's again, like, brother, I it's so obvious that that's not free speech, and the Israel Palestine thing right now is being censored more than ever. And he just went to Israel, and he literally, remember we were making fun of George Santos because he said he was Jew-ish. Elon Musk just made the same joke. And nobody seemed to have a problem with it. And I'm like, why? Why wouldn't you? I mean, come on, guys. Elon Musk is a fake. I'm sorry. I hate to tell everybody. There's no way he's running all these companies. That's, to me, the epitome of controlled opposition. But a lot of people still don't want to even talk about that. I got hope for Ramaswamy. I got hope for the Trump team. Because I can. If we don't have an election or we get one of those psychopaths back in office, bro, it's bad news brown for this country. It's already. Have you been flying recently?
I'm kind of afraid to. I gotta fly to Vegas next month, but like I keep seeing bad stuff.
It's true.
And then I asked also too, though, is it more prevalent? I haven't seen any stats on this. Are these accidents and things? You know, the Miami flight started on fire. The Delta flight, or whatever, got the door sucked out. There was something where like a pilot got sucked out the window and they had to hold on to his feet for 20 minutes. Like, are these things more prevalent? Are they happening more, or is it just being like put in our feed more?
So, no. The accident stuff is more prevalent. But I just got my first taste of the illegal trafficking. Like, that's real. Like, so it was when I was in Florida, right? I went through O'Hare. So, they're taking a lot of people into O'Hare, into LAX. They're taking a lot of people into LaGuardia and JFK. And basically, so I had a layover at Phoenix. And Phoenix, like Texas, is one of the border towns where a lot of people are coming in. So my flight got delayed an hour, and about 20 illegals. So a lot of them kids. They had the one Wrangler guy. They had packets, John, and little things. And even the American Airlines lady was like, yeah, no, this is happening every day. Like, we get
the same people who wanted you to have a boop boop identification proof to fly are now letting illegal aliens fly with no identification.
Children.
At all.
Children. I can't emphasize this enough. They are teenagers, like teenage boys. There was one that could have been 12 years old. The kid that was talking to me, he had like the dirt stash that you're proud of that you can get when you're 15 years
My older
old.
son's starting to get one of those.
Yeah, I mean, bro, it's as real as it gets. In fact, I think it was Boston Logan just this week. Some dude just had it was either Boston Logan or at Chicago. One where I think he was in Chicago actually, and they're sleeping in the airports.
Yeah, I've seen videos. But we have Texas is saying F you to the federal government, and now some other states are standing up and joining them. So civil war may be coming.
I hope not. And the other thing is that
No, but we called this a year or two ago, right?
Yeah.
What do you call it? The
what, the border
whenever they
issue?
start splitting up.
Well, again, the Supreme Court saying that the federal government can come in and take down fencing and barbed wire that protects the states, that you're trying to start a military conflict from within. That's insane. That shows you how badly guys, I warned you when they said no one had standing and they couldn't look.
Well, yeah, the United States is the states union with the rest of the states is supposed to be voluntary. So if Texas feels like the federal government doesn't do it any good to be a part of anymore. They have the right to secede.
I mean, here's the thing. Any border state that's not allowed to protect their borders, what else do you do? You're putting them in an untenable position. Okay? It's already listen, they already told us we didn't have standing to even audit our elections anymore. They still want the machines in there. They'd love to have mail. I'm scared of like a literal military conflict because this Israel thing is still pop-a-lopping, John. You know what I'm saying? Those are the things that keep me up at night. The Yemen thing has. Listen, I don't want to fuck around and find out with Iran, everybody. just to let you know, it's not Iraq 20 years ago, and they have the backing of Russia.
The thing with Iran, it's not going to be, oh, they're going to drop a huge bomb on us, or they're going to, have a frontal attack war on us. No, like they're sending people through the borders now. Like those people are already into the U.S. and when they get the orders to do something, that's when stuff's going to go bad. They're going to attack the infrastructure. They're going to attack the planes. They're going to attack the roadways.
And they'll let them do it.
It's going to be too late. It's going to be too late.
And they'll let them do it because if you again, guys, they're setting up the visual that anything could happen, and we just can't listen. They're not keeping track of the kids and the women. You better believe that they're keeping track of anybody who's actually military personnel from another country that's coming here. If they're not shepherding them, if they're not getting them.
I saw a video the other day. It was
that guy, who was on the terrorist watch list,
the journalist, and he turned out to be a convicted terrorist.
Yes,
I know. He was coming across the border.
I know, I saw it too. That's what I mean. But like,
you should know who I am.
Exactly. Like if a vlogger can get that out there, I'm sorry. I believe that someone in the NSA, FBI, or CIA is also like got a pinpoint on that guy. And unfortunately, John, they're not looking to catch him. They're looking to nurture him.
But we've had this talk before. I think sometimes you give the government way too much credit for their capabilities.
I
think it might be a Wizard of Oz, man behind the curtain situation. And we're led to believe all these like, oh, they're so powerful and they know so much. But at the end of the day, like, do they? Or do they set a lot of people up to make it look like they know what they're doing? And they're really just a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off.
All I know.
Like, sometimes they do some stuff. I'm just like, what? How are you the most sophisticated like security system and intel organization in the world? Like, how is that possible?
Again, the way I'm looking at it,
the police forces and the military and guys, they're so tough and capable. Have you watched the Boston Marathon bombing documentary yet?
Which one? The Hulu one?
Maybe it was Netflix or Hulu, something like that.
No,
but it's striking to me. Like most people won't notice this, but it was two 20-somethings who weren't that smart, who didn't have any training. They shut down a whole city, a huge metropolitan city for like 10 days. All they had were some bombs made from fireworks and a handgun.
One to me though.
That's it. Two guys with a handgun and some firework bombs shut down a city for almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, but for me again, I have a hard time
like, where's
believing
the
that narrative.
sophistication and crime fighting and it's so scary. You gotta have an F-13 or whatever the hell to take on the U.S. government. Really?
But
these guys shut a city down. Two guys who aren't very smart shut a city down with a handgun and some homemade fireworks.
But did they? Because in the very beginning of the day, when the bomb went off, the FBI was also running that drill of a bomb going off at that park. Like, that's my point. Did they? Or was it like, hey, we got these two schmucks? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. That's my point. Like, you know what it likens it to? Both perspectives. I've never felt like I was in the middle of the movie Children of Men more, right? Remember Children of Men? It starts off, he gets the coffee, the place blows up. You never really find out who blows up the place. Was it the government? Was it the terrorist fish that they said it was? It's the movie where no one can have a baby and everybody's sterile. And fertility rates have never been lower in this country. And at the end, like, everybody's just fucking fighting everybody. Like, it's just total chaos. Like, you got that one general character that's got the tank, and like, it's just utter fucking insanity. I've never felt like we were closer to that type of scenario than ever before. Because like that's my point. If something fucking pops off where a nuke or any type of crazy bomb goes off here or Europe or Canada,
Biological weapon.
anything, it's over. There is no election in 2024, right? Like, or if there is, they find a way for the ballots.
Or there's always the possibility too that there's never ever been an election.
You're going as black pilled as possible today, huh, Fitch? You're
I'm
good.
just saying, like, how do we know anything? We have people who are like everything we've ever been taught and educated about has been taught to us by people who are known liars.
I can't
Right?
disagree. You know,
Have you gone down the rabbit hole of Ghislaine Maxwell's father?
yes, of course.
Well, did you talk about the publishing company he owned?
Yes, the Mirror, of course, the Daily Mirror.
Yes,
Like,
and like where did those books? What books did he supply?
yeah, listen.
School books.
That's my point. Like this guy,
So like
it wasn't
Ghislaine
just
Maxwell's father, like supplied most of our books for our education.
Yes.
That's who we're learning from.
Yeah.
That was the source.
I mean,
So what do we really know? What do we know about anything?
the Rockefellers as well, bro. Like the Rockefellers to help take over the education system, but you're not wrong. Think
Yeah,
about-
they went to Rockefeller and asked him, "How do you want the school system set up?" He's like, "I want better workers." He didn't want more intelligent people who were capable of free thought and creating things and inventing things. He wanted disciplined, obedient people who shut up and just did what they were told and kept their head down. And that's what they continue to teach today.
You're not wrong. Fitch, let people know where they can support your stuff, brother.
Yeah, man. Sign up for the newsletter. I do my show on Sunday nights live. I do a number of things, man. I do on Rockfin. I have Learn to Fight. I'll break down some street fight videos for everybody. Try to lift your education about violence and why it's important. Thursdays, I do a Fitch Pilled video and just try to educate a little bit, talk a lot about sexual dynamics and different stuff there. We talked about a 40-year-old virgin today. It was a fun talk, interesting video we watched. But yeah, man, I got a lot of fight programs. I do privates, seminars, small groups. So reach out if you're in the area, if you're trying to learn remotely. I've been putting together, I got the beta version I'm putting together of my Fitch Smash program, trying to get that all put together in videos. I got one guy helping me out with that. And I'm open to take on some more clients where I can break down your competition videos and upload and give you access to my my videos where I'm teaching my system. And I'm trying to grow, bring that. Hopefully it'll be website and an app and stuff like the Gracie's combative stuff. It's just taking me slow because my main job really is raising my kids. So everything else comes second. So my focus isn't making money right now. I'm hedging, like losing a lot of money, hemorrhaging money just because I'm trying to stay in California and make sure that they don't get indoctrinated into cutting their weenies off.
Brother, you couldn't say it better than that. Like, again, for me, everybody's asking why I'm not doing more videos. I'm on 5 days a week, everybody. For instance, that Stephen Friend interview, you want it, you got it. 5 days a week. Right now it's at patriot.tv. I got to tell you, it's been a mix-up. I hope I even have that job. Because if not, who knows? You know what I mean? Like, I already lost quite a bit of money losing the RVM gig, everybody. So I'm going to try to kick out, we're thinking about 3 videos a day. I still like this kind of a format. We're streaming on Twitter again. So we're back to 4 things, but the links are down below. You want to support me financially, I really do appreciate it. You can buy me a coffee, $5, $10, $15. Absolutely means the world to me. But most of all, get the information out there. Can we, I actually was able to gain on Twitter from being on InfoWars and Jones, and then I was on those big Mario Nawful spaces on about Epstein, but that growth has been cut short. I just showed you on YouTube. I can't even review some of the videos they take down about Epstein. So I have 0 growth over there. You guys are the ones supporting it. You want me to get out there and ask questions like I did with Ramaswamy. I love doing that stuff. But it's not free to travel. And even when I go, I'm going to be speaking. I'm going to be speaking in, I think it's in June in Detroit. wouldn't be able to do it without you. I do it on my own dime. So I love you guys. Fitch, hopefully we're going to be doing this every week again. I'm going to try to hit you up every Thursday.
And UFC class action antitrust trial begins April 15th.
April 15th. Well, we should do let's see if you can get some other fighters on and do a panel show. I'd love to do a panel show just on that, maybe in the beginning of April. I'm trying to think I'm doing something like April 2nd, but maybe we do it the week before and gear people up when it's in the media. Because it is really important, man, because it's going to be the future of the sport. If we really want to see better fights and better fighters, let's make it more even. So, guys, again, thumbs it up, subscribe, share, Rumble, Rockfin, Twitter, and what's the other one? Oh, yeah, YouTube. Hey, YouTube right there, buddy. All right, Fitch. Great seeing you. I love you guys. We'll see you.